Welcome back to the channel, friend. Before you settle in tonight, I need to tell you something that will fundamentally change how you understand sleep, dreams, and the mind that's been quietly working behind the scenes of your entire life without asking for permission or credit. Here's what will blow your mind. Right now, at this very moment, your subconscious mind is processing approximately 11 million pieces of information per second. Your conscious mind? It's only handling about 40 pieces of information per second. That means roughly 99.6% of your brain's processing power is happening in the shadows, completely invisible to you. You are not in control of your mind. Your mind is in control of you. And somehow, impossibly, this is actually the most relaxing thing you could possibly learn before sleep. Think of it like this. You're watching a magnificent symphony orchestra, but you can only hear the violin solo while 11 million other instruments are playing in the background. You think you're listening to the music, but the real masterpiece is happening in frequencies you can't perceive. This video is going to take you on a journey through 14 sections of mind-bending science that will transform your understanding of consciousness, dreams, memory, and the incredible intelligence operating beneath your awareness. We're talking about Nobel Prize-winning discoveries, revolutionary experiments from the world's leading neuroscientists, and facts so calming they'll feel like a gentle hand on your shoulder as you drift into sleep. Before we dive deeper, I have to ask, where are you watching from right now? Drop your country in the comments. And what time is it where you are? Are you getting ready for bed? In the middle of the afternoon? I want to know. And hey, if you're not already subscribed, hit that button now, because the next sections are going to challenge everything you think you know about your own mind. This is the kind of content that changes how you sleep, how you dream, and how you see yourself. Are you ready? Let's begin. What if I told you that everything you think makes you, you, is actually just the tip of an iceberg? The conscious mind, that voice in your head, that sense of choosing, it's like the captain of a ship who thinks they're steering, but they're actually just calling out orders that the crew below decks has already decided to follow. The foundation of modern neuroscience rests on one revolutionary figure, Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist who, in 1933, proposed that the unconscious mind wasn't just a dumping ground for repressed trauma. It was an active, intelligent system with its own wisdom, its own patterns, its own mysterious goals. Jung discovered through decades of clinical work that the subconscious actually communicates with us constantly through symbols, through dreams, through those inexplicable feelings that guide us toward decisions we haven't consciously made yet. Here's what's fascinating. When Jung was analyzing dreams, he noticed something profound. People would have dreams about situations they would face weeks later. Not coincidence, prediction. The subconscious, operating on subtle cues your conscious mind had filtered out, was preparing you. Think of it like a security camera that never sleeps, always watching, always learning, always building models of the world that inform your behavior before your conscious mind even knows what's happening. But the real breakthrough came much later. In 1992, neuroscientist Antonio Damasio published research that shattered the old Cartesian idea that reason and emotion are separate systems. His famous somatic marker hypothesis proved that the subconscious is constantly sending your body signals, in your gut, in your chest, in the back of your neck, that guide your decisions. That feeling you get about someone being trustworthy? That's your subconscious processing millions of microsignals in their facial expressions, their tone, their body language. Your conscious mind then takes credit for the decision. Think of it like this. Your subconscious is a sophisticated AI that's been trained your entire life. It's seen every person you've met, every situation you've encountered, every outcome you've experienced. When you meet someone new, your subconscious runs them through all that training data in milliseconds and gives you a gut feeling. You think you're making a rational decision, but you're actually accessing the wisdom of your entire lived experience, compiled into an instant intuition. Here's the mind-bending part. Research by Benjamin, Libet in 1983 showed that your brain makes decisions up to 10 seconds before you become consciously aware of making them. Your subconscious literally decides, and then your conscious mind experiences the decision and takes credit for it. You're not in control. You're along for the ride, narrating a story about control. And yet, here's what's incredibly relaxing about this. You don't have to worry. You don't have to consciously control every decision. Your subconscious has been working for you your entire life, keeping you safe, guiding you toward good decisions, steering you away from danger. The moment you accept this, the moment you surrender to the intelligence that's always been protecting you, sleep becomes easier. You can finally stop trying to control everything and trust the system that's been flawlessly operating in the background. Your subconscious mind is like a faithful friend who's been watching your back since birth. Even when you're asleep, it's awake. Even when you're distracted, it's paying attention. And the science proves it's incredibly good at its job. But wait until you hear what happens to your brain during REM sleep. That's where this gets even more extraordinary. What if I told you that the dreams you experience tonight are actually your subconscious solving problems, processing emotions, and rehearsing your future? Not mystically, mechanically, measurably, scientifically. In 1977, neurophysiologists John Allen Hobson and Robert McCarley made a discovery that rewrote our understanding of dreams. They found that during REM sleep, that's rapid eye movement sleep, when you're actively dreaming, your brain is as active as it is during waking consciousness. The difference? The neurotransmitter norepinephrine, which handles critical thinking and logical analysis, essentially shuts down. Meanwhile, areas associated with emotion, memory, and visual imagery light up like a city at night. Think of it like this. Your brain during REM sleep is like a musician who's turned off the metronome and let the music flow freely. Without the constraints of logical thinking, your brain can make wild, associative connections. Things that would be impossible in waking life become not just possible, but necessary. And here's the incredible part. These wild, impossible connections are actually solving real problems in your life. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker from UC Berkeley has spent 30 years studying sleep and dreams. In 2017, he published research showing that REM sleep, particularly the dream stage, is when your brain consolidates emotional memories. But it doesn't just store them, it processes them. It takes emotionally intense experiences and, through the chemistry of dreams, strips away the emotional charge while preserving the memory. This is your subconscious naturally performing therapy on itself. Here's what will blow your mind. When you go through a traumatic or intense emotional experience, your brain actually needs REM sleep to process it. People who are deprived of REM sleep become emotionally unstable. They can't regulate their emotions. They become anxious. But give them proper REM sleep, and the same trauma that would have haunted them becomes integrated into their life story as just another experience they survived. Your dreams are your brain's emotional healing system, and it's happening right now in your body without you having to do anything except surrender to sleep. Walker's research also revealed something stunning. During REM sleep, your brain is consolidating learning. Those facts you studied, those skills you practiced, those new experiences you had, they're being transferred from short-term memory to long-term storage during your dreams. This is why cramming the night before a test doesn't work nearly as well as studying, sleeping, then testing. Your brain needs the dream state to actually learn. Think of it like this. Your waking experience is like recording video footage. Your REM sleep is like the editing room where the footage is cut, enhanced, organized, and integrated into your permanent archive. The dream is the editing process, itself sometimes surreal, sometimes nonsensical from the outside, but absolutely essential to the final product. And here's the most relaxing part. You don't have to remember your dreams for them to work. 90% of your dreams are forgotten by morning, but the neurochemical changes they produce persist. Your subconscious is working on your behalf, even if your conscious mind has no idea what's happening. This is trust at the deepest level. Your brain trusts itself to do its job, but the plot thickens. Because there's another type of sleep, one that's just as important. And the balance between the two is the key to understanding why sleep is actually your mind's most sophisticated achievement. When you fall asleep tonight, something remarkable happens in the spaces between your brain cells. Scientists used to think these spaces were just empty corridors. In 2013, neuroscientist Maiken Nedergaard made a discovery so profound it fundamentally changed neuroscience. She found that during sleep, and particularly during deep, non-REM sleep, your brain shrinks by about 60%. This isn't damage. This isn't decay. This is intentional. This is strategic. The shrinking creates more space between brain cells, and in that space, cerebrospinal fluid rushes through like a cleanup crew, flushing out metabolic waste. Think of it like this. During the day, your brain is busy processing information, and that processing generates garbage metabolic byproducts like beta amyloid, the toxic protein associated with Alzheimer's disease. Your brain is so busy thinking during the day that it doesn't have time to clean up, so it waits. It waits for you to sleep. During deep sleep, approximately 70% of the day's metabolic waste is removed from your brain. This is why sleep deprivation so rapidly impairs cognitive function. You're not just tired. Your brain is literally getting poisoned by its own waste products because you're not giving it time to clean house. Nedergaard's discovery has been built upon by researchers like William Dement at Stanford, who showed that chronic sleep deprivation is linked to accelerated cognitive decline, memory loss, and neurodegeneration. In fact, prolonged sleep deprivation can be fatal, not metaphorically, actually fatal. But here's what's mind-blowing. This waste removal process is passive. It happens without effort. You don't have to meditate or think calming thoughts. You don't have to do breathwork or take supplements. You simply have to lie down and let your brain do what it evolved to do. Your subconscious mind is so intelligent that it's literally designed a chemical system to maintain its own hardware. It's a biological update system, and you're the device that gets upgraded every single night. Think of it like this. Imagine if your home had a cleaning system that automatically activated when you weren't using it. You didn't have to lift a finger. You didn't have to think about it. You could just surrender to sleep. And while you rested, every surface was cleaned, every dust particle removed, every spill wiped up. By the time you woke, your home was pristine and ready for another day of life. That's what your brain is doing. And there's a rhythm to it, a pattern that's been preserved in human neurobiology for millions of years. Because your brain isn't just cleaning randomly. It's cycling between two states, each with different purposes, each dependent on the other. During non-REM sleep, particularly deep sleep, your brain clears waste, consolidates procedural memories, skills and habits, and restores emotional resilience. During REM sleep, your brain processes emotions, consolidates declarative memories, facts, and experiences, and works through problems. These cycles repeat throughout the night in what's called ultradian rhythms, typically cycling every 90 minutes. Most people get 4 to 6 of these cycles per night. Each cycle is like a different system in your body getting its maintenance appointment. First, the waste removal, then emotional processing, back and forth all night long. Your subconscious has created a schedule, a routine that maximizes restoration. All you have to do is honor it. The most relaxing fact about this? Your brain doesn't ask permission. It doesn't require your conscious participation. It will do this tonight exactly as it did last night and every night of your life. You are safe in the hands of your own neurobiology. But what about those nights when you can't sleep? What about those racing thoughts that keep you awake? Well, that's actually your subconscious trying to tell you something urgent. And understanding this changes everything. Here's a question that will challenge you. What if insomnia isn't a disorder? What if it's a message? In 2012, sleep researcher Diane Hales published findings that transformed how we understand sleep problems. She discovered that insomnia often precedes major life transitions, significant emotional processing, or the brain's attempt to solve a complex problem. People don't experience insomnia randomly. It clusters around periods of stress, change, or cognitive load. Think of it like this. Your subconscious mind is like a responsible parent. When there's a problem that needs solving, the parent doesn't let the child sleep peacefully. The parent keeps them awake, walks them around, talks to them, trying to get them to understand something important. Your racing thoughts during insomnia aren't a malfunction. They're your subconscious brain trying desperately to communicate with your conscious mind about something that needs attention. Psychologist and sleep specialist Michael Perlis conducted experiments where he had insomniacs keep detailed thought journals during periods of sleeplessness. He found that the thoughts circling in their minds were almost always connected to unresolved emotional issues or problems their conscious mind hadn't fully acknowledged. Once they acknowledged the issue and did something about it, even just writing about it, sleep often returned naturally. Your subconscious is smarter than you. It sees threats and opportunities your conscious mind misses. When you can't sleep, before you fight it with medications or desperation, ask yourself, what is my subconscious trying to tell me? What problem am I avoiding? What change am I resisting? Often, the answer is illuminating. And here's the incredibly relaxing part. Once you understand this, insomnia becomes less frightening. It becomes a signal. It becomes your subconscious reaching out and saying, hey, we need to talk about something. You can actually have a conversation with your own deeper intelligence instead of fighting it. There's a practice called worry time, developed by cognitive behavioral therapists. You designate a specific 30-minute period earlier in the day, and you spend it worrying intentionally. You let your anxious thoughts come out. You journal about them. You explore them. You give them attention. Then you set them aside. Neuroscientist David Clark found that people who practice worry time during the day have significantly better sleep at night. Why? Because you've given your subconscious the attention it was seeking. It doesn't have to keep you awake anymore. Think of it like this. Your subconscious is like a child in the backseat who needs attention. If you ignore it, it will scream louder and louder. But if you pull over, turn around, and give it attention for 30 minutes, it will settle down, satisfied that it's been heard. But there's another layer to this. Because your subconscious doesn't just process what's bothering you, it also processes what you're learning, what you're creating, what you're becoming. And sometimes it gets so excited about possibilities that it keeps you awake, too. What if I told you that every great creative achievement in human history came from the subconscious mind? Not metaphorically, literally. Think about the greatest insights you've ever had. Where did they come from? Probably not while you were sitting at your desk, forcing yourself to think. Probably while you were showering, walking, or lying in bed at night. Your conscious mind was doing something else, something simple, something repetitive, and suddenly an idea appeared fully formed. This is because the subconscious mind is your brain's most powerful creative engine. Neuroscientist Andreas Fink from the University of Graz conducted brain imaging studies of people in creative problem-solving tasks. He found that creative breakthroughs happen when the default mode network of the brain becomes active. This network activates when you're not focused on external tasks. It activates during mind-wandering, during sleep, during meditation. The conscious, goal-directed network actually suppresses creativity. When you're forcing yourself to focus, you're literally turning off the creative system. Think of it like this. Your conscious mind is like a spotlight. It illuminates one specific area with intense focus. Your subconscious mind is like ambient light. It's not as bright in any one spot, but it can see the entire landscape. When you're trying to solve a problem consciously, you're squinting at one small area with your spotlight. But the subconscious sees the whole picture and makes connections across vast distances. Here's the mind-bending part. Some of the greatest artists, scientists, and inventors reported that their breakthrough ideas came to them in dreams or in that hypnagogic state, right before sleep. Paul McCartney woke up with the melody for Yesterday, fully formed in a dream. Dmitri Mendeleev, the chemist who created the periodic table, reportedly saw the entire structure in a dream. Friedrich Kakul, who discovered the structure of benzene, described the moment as seeing a snake seizing its tail in a dream, a visual metaphor for the circular structure he'd been struggling to understand. These weren't lucky accidents. These were demonstrations of the subconscious mind's superior pattern recognition abilities. Nobel Prize-winning physicist Richard Feynman described his approach to problem-solving as follows. He would work on a problem consciously until he got stuck. Then he would deliberately relax. He would do something mundane: shower, walk, wash dishes. And while his conscious mind was occupied with simple tasks, his subconscious would churn through the problem, accessing memories and connections he didn't consciously know he had. The breakthrough would come unbidden. And here's the incredibly relaxing application. This means you don't have to force your creativity. You don't have to stress about solving your problems. You can trust your subconscious to work on them while you sleep, while you shower, while you live your life. You can give yourself permission to rest, knowing that rest is when the real work happens. In fact, one study showed that subjects who slept on a problem and then tried to solve it again performed 40% better than subjects who stayed awake. Sleep doesn't just help you remember things, it transforms your understanding of them. It metabolizes your learning, breaking it down and reconstructing it in new configurations. Your subconscious is your 24/7 creative assistant, and it doesn't take breaks. Even when you're resting, it's working for you. But here's what gets even more fascinating. This creative capacity isn't just for art or engineering. It's also how your subconscious mind is predicting your future, moment by moment, and that prediction is shaping everything you do and everything that happens to you. What if I told you that your entire experience of reality is actually your brain's prediction about reality, not reality itself? This is the radical claim made by neuroscientist Carl Friston, whose predictive processing theory has become one of the most influential frameworks in modern neuroscience. Friston's hypothesis, which has been supported by decades of experimental evidence, is that the brain's primary function isn't to perceive reality, but to predict it. Your brain is constantly generating a model of what should happen next, and then it checks that prediction against sensory data. If the prediction is accurate, you feel secure. If it's wrong, your brain updates the model. Think of it like this. You're not actually experiencing the world. You're experiencing your brain's model of the world. It's like looking at a map rather than the territory itself. Most of the time, the map is accurate enough that you don't notice the difference. But occasionally, the map fails, and you see the gap between prediction and reality. Here's the mind-blowing part. 90% of the information your brain processes is not coming from your eyes, ears, or sensory organs at all. It's coming from the predictions your brain is generating. Your brain is literally hallucinating reality, and what you experience as perception is actually your brain checking its hallucination against sensory data. When a prediction matches the data, you don't notice anything. Everything feels normal, expected, safe. But when a prediction fails, when something happens that violates your expectations, that's when you become conscious of the event. That's what grabs your attention. That's what makes you alert. This is why magic tricks work. A magician is an expert at understanding your predictions and violating them. They know what you expect to see, and they make you see something else. For a moment, your prediction system crashes, and you experience genuine surprise and wonder. Now here's where this connects to your subconscious. Your subconscious is constantly running these prediction simulations. It's updating your model of reality based on patterns you've experienced. And it does this with vastly more sophistication and subtlety than your conscious mind is capable of. Psychologist John Bargh conducted experiments showing that people's behavior is shaped by subconscious priming, exposure to words or images that activate associations without their awareness. In one famous experiment, subjects who were exposed to words related to aging words like wrinkle, gray, elderly, actually walked more slowly after the experiment, even though they had no conscious awareness of being primed. Their subconscious had updated its predictions about how an older person moves, and their body followed that prediction. Think of it like this. Your subconscious is constantly updating a model of reality based on patterns. It's like a weather prediction system that gets better the more data it processes. Your conscious mind experiences the output your thoughts, your emotions, your intuitions, your behaviors, but the actual processing, the actual modeling, is happening in the subconscious. And this predictive system doesn't just predict the external world. It predicts your internal world. It predicts what you should feel, what you should pay attention to, what you should care about. Here's the relaxing revelation. This means you don't have to figure everything out consciously. Your subconscious has been updating its predictive models your entire life. It knows how to navigate your environment. It knows what's safe and what's dangerous. It knows what leads to good outcomes and what leads to bad ones. Your subconscious has already solved most of the problems you're consciously worrying about. When you finally surrender to sleep tonight, you can trust that your subconscious has the expertise to guide you. Your conscious mind doesn't have all the answers, and that's okay. Your subconscious does. But this predictive power goes even deeper, because your subconscious isn't just predicting what will happen, it's actually influencing what will happen. And this is where the line between neuroscience and something that feels almost mystical becomes delightfully blurred. Here's a question that will unsettle you in the most wonderful way. Is your life happening to you? Or are you, through your subconscious predictions and expectations, actually creating it? In 1968, psychologists Robert Rosenthal and Leonard Jacobson conducted an experiment that became known as the Pygmalion effect. They told teachers that certain students in their classes were intellectual, Bloomers students who would show significant intellectual growth that year. The teachers were given names of students at random. There was nothing special about these students. They were selected purely by chance. But by the end of the year, the Bloomers had actually improved dramatically compared to their peers. The teachers' expectations had literally shaped the students' outcomes. Think of it like this. The teachers' subconscious expectations created subtle changes in their behavior toward those students. They gave them more attention, more positive feedback, more challenging material, more wait time to answer questions. These tiny behavioral changes, multiplied over a year, resulted in massive differences in actual learning and test scores. The expectation created the reality. This is the power of your subconscious mind. It has expectations about what you're capable of, what you deserve, what will happen to you. And those expectations don't just influence your behavior, they influence your perception of reality. People tend to notice things that confirm their expectations and ignore things that contradict them. If your subconscious expects you to fail, you'll unconsciously avoid challenges, interpret neutral feedback as criticism, and remember your mistakes more vividly than your successes. If your subconscious expects you to succeed, you'll take more chances, interpret feedback more charitably, and remember your accomplishments more vividly. Psychologist Albert Bandura called this self-efficacy, your belief in your ability to succeed. He found that self-efficacy is one of the strongest predictors of actual success across nearly every domain of life. People with high self-efficacy try harder, persist longer when facing obstacles, and ultimately achieve more. And here's the crucial part. Self-efficacy is primarily shaped by your subconscious mind. You don't consciously decide your self-efficacy. It emerges from your accumulated experiences, from how you've been treated, from how others have believed in you. This is why trauma and childhood experiences are so powerful. They program your subconscious expectations about what's possible for you. A child who is constantly told they're stupid develops a subconscious expectation of failure. A child who is praised for effort develops a subconscious expectation of growth. These aren't conscious beliefs. They're deeper patterns that shape how the brain interprets events. Here's the mind-bending part, and the reason this is so relaxing. If your expectations are creating your reality, then changing your expectations can change your reality. Not through willpower or force, but through gentle, repeated exposure to new patterns. Neuroscientist Paul Teasdale discovered that when people practice mindfulness meditation, which is essentially training your conscious mind to observe your subconscious patterns without judgment, they experience a shift in their default mode network. The expectations that were running on autopilot begin to loosen their grip. New expectations become possible. Think of it like this. You've been living in a house your entire life. You know every corner, every creaky floorboard, every shadow. Your subconscious knows this house so well that it runs on autopilot. You don't consciously think about how to navigate it. But what if you started exploring the house with fresh eyes? What if you opened doors you thought were locked? What if you turned on lights in rooms you thought were dark? At first, it would feel strange, disorienting. But gradually, you'd discover that the house is bigger and more beautiful than you ever realized. That's what happens when you begin to gently challenge the expectations your subconscious has formed. You don't fight them. You don't use willpower. You simply repeatedly expose yourself to new possibilities. You gather evidence that contradicts the old expectations. And gradually, your subconscious updates its model. It begins to expect different things. The most relaxing application: you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to achieve instant transformation. You just have to repeatedly, gently, expose yourself to evidence that your old expectations might be wrong. Your subconscious will do the rest of the work. It will update its models. It will shift its predictions. And those shifted predictions will change your behavior, your choices, your life. Your subconscious is not your enemy. It's not a fixed, unchangeable force. It's a prediction machine that updates itself based on new information. And you're the one providing that information moment by moment. But here's what's even more profound. Your subconscious isn't just shaped by your personal experiences. It's also tapping into something much larger, the collective unconscious, the shared patterns of human psychology, the deep resonances between your mind and the minds of everyone around you. In 1992, neuroscientist Vittorio Gallis made a discovery that would reshape our understanding of human connection. He found that when a monkey observed another monkey performing an action, specific neurons in the observing monkey's brain fired, the same neurons that would fire if the observing monkey performed the action itself. He called them mirror neurons. What if I told you that your brain doesn't just observe other people, it literally mimics their neural patterns? That you are, at a neurological level, becoming like the people around you? Think of it like this. Your brain has a copy-paste function for other people's mental states. When you watch someone perform an action, your brain runs a simulation of that action. When you see someone experience an emotion, your brain activates the same emotional circuits. You're not just watching, you're mirroring. You're literally resonating with the people around you at the level of neural activity. This is the foundation of empathy, but it goes far deeper. Mirror neurons are why you yawn when someone else yawns, not because you're tired, but because your brain is mimicking their state. They're why you feel uncomfortable when someone else is uncomfortable. They're why you smile when someone else smiles, not because you're trying to be nice, but because your subconscious is literally copying their facial expression. And here's the mind-blowing part. This happens entirely in your subconscious. You're not aware that you're mimicking. You're not choosing to resonate with others. Your subconscious brain is doing this automatically, moment by moment, with every person you interact with. Neuroscientist Marco Accoboni has extended this research, showing that mirror neurons are involved not just in simple motor imitation, but in understanding intention, meaning, and narrative. When you read a story or watch a movie, your mirror neuron system is activated. You're experiencing the character's actions and emotions in your own brain. You're not just learning about human experience, you're simulating it. Here's what's profoundly relaxing about this. It means you're deeply neurobically connected to other people. You're not isolated consciousnesses trapped in separate bodies. You're constantly resonating with, mirroring, and synchronizing with the people around you. This is why humans are such social creatures. This is why we need connection. Our brains are literally designed to interface with other brains. And this explains something crucial about emotional contagion, the phenomenon where emotions spread from person to person like a virus. If you're around someone who's anxious, your mirror neurons activate anxiety circuits. If you're around someone who's calm, your mirror neurons activate calm circuits. This isn't mystical, it's neurobiology. Think of it like this. Emotions are catching because they're literally contagious at the neural level. When someone you care about is stressed, your body begins producing stress hormones. When someone is happy, your body begins producing happiness hormones. You're not just sympathizing, you're synchronizing. This has massive implications for your sleep and your waking life. The people you spend time with are literally shaping your neural patterns. The emotional environment you're in is programming your subconscious expectations and predictions. This is why sleep environment matters, not just the physical environment, but the emotional environment you've been in before sleep. If you've been around calm, relaxed people, your nervous system is calibrated to calm. Your subconscious expects safety. Sleep comes easily. But if you've been around anxious, rushed people, your nervous system is calibrated to threat. Your subconscious is expecting danger. Sleep becomes difficult. Here's the application. Before sleep tonight, think about spending even a few moments around calm people in person, or through media, is literally preparing your nervous system for rest. It's not indulgent or self-care nonsense. It's neurobiology. You're updating your mirror neurons to resonate with calm. You're training your subconscious to expect peace. And there's another form of synchronization happening at an even deeper level. Because your brain doesn't just mirror other people, it also synchronizes with the natural rhythms of the world around you. What if I told you that you're not just an isolated individual consciousness? What if you're a note in a vast, ancient symphony of rhythms that orchestrates the entire planet? In 1971, chronobiologist Jürgen Askoff made a discovery that reframed human consciousness. He found that when humans were placed in a bunker with no external time cues, no sunlight, no clocks, no artificial light, their sleep-wake cycle didn't disappear. Instead, it drifted to a longer cycle, approximately 24.2 hours. He called this the circadian rhythm, from the Latin circa dies, meaning approximately one day. Think of it like this. You have an internal clock. Not metaphorically actually, at the level of neurons. In a part of your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, there are approximately 20,000 neurons whose primary job is to keep you synchronized with the planet's rotation. But here's what's extraordinary. This internal clock doesn't work in isolation. It's constantly being synchronized by external signals. The most powerful signal is light. When light enters your eye, it doesn't just create vision. It sends a signal directly to your circadian clock. The clock receives the message. It is day. Everything in your brain and body adjusts accordingly. Neuroscientist Charles Czeisler demonstrated that the circadian system is so sensitive to light that brief exposure to blue wavelength light, particularly in the evening, can suppress melatonin production and delay sleep. This is why screens before bed are so disruptive. They're hijacking your circadian system with false signals about the time of day. But here's the mind-bending part. Your circadian rhythm isn't just controlling sleep. It's controlling literally everything. Your body temperature, your hunger hormones, your immune function, your cognitive performance, your mood, your reaction time, your memory consolidation. There's almost no biological process that isn't modulated by your circadian rhythm. Think of it like this. Imagine an orchestra. The conductor is your circadian clock. Every instrument, every system in your body is following the conductor's baton. When the conductor says crescendo, your body temperature rises, your cortisol increases, your alertness peaks. When the conductor says diminuendo, your body temperature falls, your melatonin rises, your consciousness softens toward sleep. And here's the incredibly profound part. This conductor evolved over millions of years. Your circadian system is calibrated to the rotation of the Earth. It's an ancient wisdom encoded in your neurons, a rhythm that stretches back to the very first single-celled organisms that had to time their division to avoid damage from the sun's radiation. You're not just connected to other people through mirror neurons. You're connected to the entire planetary system through your circadian rhythm. You're a biological oscillator, tuned to the frequency of the cosmos. Chronobiologist Till Roenberg found that there's significant variation in circadian rhythms. Some people's clocks run faster, some slower. This is why some people are genuinely morning people and others are genuinely night people. It's not discipline or habit. It's neurobiological variation in your circadian period. The most relaxing revelation. When you honor your actual circadian rhythm, when you go to sleep at a time that aligns with your internal clock, when you expose yourself to natural light patterns, sleep becomes effortless. You're not fighting your biology. You're flowing with it. And there's something even more remarkable happening at night. Because when you sleep, your brain doesn't just process information from your waking life. It also processes memories that were formed years ago, decades ago, even memories you consciously forgot. What if I told you that every experience of your entire life is stored in your brain? And sleep is the process by which your subconscious integrates this vast archive of memory into a coherent life narrative? For decades, neuroscientists believed that memories were stored in individual neurons, like files on a hard drive. But that model couldn't explain why memories persist, even when entire regions of the brain are damaged. It couldn't explain how a single memory could involve thousands of neurons firing in complex patterns. Then came the discovery that changed everything. In the 1970s, neuroscientist Ben Zhaijang proposed that memory is actually a distributed pattern across the brain. A memory isn't a thing stored in a place. It's a pattern of neural activation that can be recreated by triggering the right network of neurons. Your brain is less like a filing cabinet and more like a hologram. Break it into pieces. And each piece still contains the entire pattern. Think of it like this. Imagine a vast city. Every street, every building, every light represents a neuron. Every memory is a unique pattern of lights illuminating across the city in a particular sequence. The same neighborhood might light up for many different memories because memories share elements. The smell of your grandmother's kitchen appears in memories from different decades. The sensation of sadness appears in memories from different moments of your life. When you remember something, you're not retrieving a file. You're recreating the pattern. And the fascinating part is that each time you recreate the pattern, you're slightly changing it. You're not retrieving an exact copy of the original memory. You're rebuilding it, and in the rebuilding, you're modifying it, connecting it to new information, integrating it with who you are now. This is why memories are notoriously unreliable. But it's also why memories are so powerful for growth and healing. Because during sleep, your subconscious is going through your memory archive, retrieving old patterns and reconsolidating them with new understanding. Neuroscientist James McClelland proposed that this is the fundamental function of sleep, to take experiences from short-term memory and integrate them into the long-term knowledge structure of your brain. But it goes deeper. Through dreaming and sleep, you're also reprocessing old memories, recontextualizing them, healing them. This is why trauma healing works through REM sleep. When you've had a traumatic experience, the memory is encoded with intense emotional charge because the threat system was activated. But during REM sleep, your brain can replay that memory while the threat response is offline. Your brain can recreate the neural pattern of the traumatic memory without the full emotional charge. It's like watching a horror movie with the volume turned down. The emotional intensity decreases each time the memory is replayed during sleep. Think of it like this. Trauma is like a song stuck in your head. You can't get it out because it keeps playing and playing. But if someone plays the song to you thousands of times, gradually your emotional response to it fades. It becomes boring. It becomes just a song. That's what REM sleep does to traumatic memories. It replays them with reduced emotional charge until they lose their grip on you. Here's the mind-blowing part. This means that healing from trauma isn't about consciously processing it or talking about it in therapy, although those things can help. Healing is fundamentally about giving your brain the REM sleep it needs to reprocess the memory. Many therapists now understand that the most important thing they can do for traumatized clients is not just to talk to them, but to ensure they're sleeping properly. The healing happens in dreams, and it's not just trauma that gets reprocessed. Your entire life is being reorganized during sleep. Memories from yesterday are being integrated with memories from 10 years ago. Your current understanding is being applied to past experiences, giving them new meaning. You're not just storing the past, you're constantly rewriting it, healing it, transforming it into wisdom. The most relaxing revelation. Your subconscious is the ultimate therapist, working on your behalf every single night. You don't have to consciously heal your past. You don't have to figure it all out. Your subconscious is already doing the integration, the recontextualizing, the transformation. All you have to do is sleep and trust the process. Your memory is not a fixed thing. It's a living, dynamic system that's being constantly updated, refined, healed. And the update happens in sleep. But there's one more layer to this that might blow your mind entirely. Because the memories that are being reprocessed during sleep aren't just personal, they're also collective. Your subconscious is tapping into something that transcends your individual experience. Here's a question that bridges neuroscience and something that feels almost mystical. What if the human subconscious mind is connected at some level deeper than individual brains? Now, I need to be careful here. This isn't about telepathy or supernatural powers. This is about something that neuroscience is beginning to understand through new technologies and research. It's about entrainment, the phenomenon where separate oscillators that are exposed to each other begin to synchronize. If you take two pendulums and hang them near each other, over time, they'll begin to swing in sync. If you put two fireflies in the same room, their flashing will eventually synchronize. This is an observable physical phenomenon. It's called entrainment, and it happens whenever oscillating systems are in proximity. Your brain is an oscillating system. It produces rhythms at multiple frequencies. Beta waves when you're alert, alpha waves when you're relaxed, theta waves during deep meditation, delta waves during deep sleep. And here's what's fascinating. When people are in deep communication, their brain waves begin to entrain to each other. When a therapist is truly connected with their client, brain imaging shows they're oscillating at similar frequencies. When musicians are playing together in synchrony, their brain waves are syncing up. Think of it like this. Brains are like tuning forks. When tuning forks vibrate near each other, they begin to vibrate at the same frequency. Your brain is doing the same thing with other brains around you. Neuroscientist Natalie Holtz conducted experiments where she put people in separate rooms with no direct contact, but they were able to hear each other's voices or see each other through screens. When they were in genuine connection, their brain waves synchronized across certain frequency bands. They were literally oscillating together. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Some researchers, like psychologist Carl Jung, proposed that there's a deeper level at which human minds are connected, the collective unconscious. Jung believed that beneath the personal unconscious of each individual, there's a layer shared by all humans. Archetypal patterns, universal symbols, basic psychological structures. While Jung's idea of the collective unconscious was initially treated with skepticism, modern neuroscience is finding evidence that supports the core intuition. Humans across different cultures recognize similar symbols, similar stories, similar psychological patterns. We share basic fears, desires, and drives. We instinctively understand narratives and metaphors that suggest we're accessing shared patterns. And here's the mind-bending part. These shared patterns might not just be coincidence or convergent evolution. They might be because human consciousness, at some level, is interconnected. Not in a supernatural way, but in the way that all electromagnetic fields are interconnected. All quantum systems are connected through entanglement. Think of it like this. Imagine the human species as a vast network of brains, all oscillating at different frequencies, but all affecting each other through their electromagnetic fields, their social influence, their mirrored neural patterns. At one level, you're separate. You have your own consciousness, your own perspective. But at another level, you're part of a vast collective oscillator. You're influencing it, and it's influencing you. This explains why certain ideas spread like viruses, why certain symbols resonate across cultures, why humans are so susceptible to emotional contagion. You're not just individuals. You're nodes in a vast network. And here's the most profound implication. During sleep, during dreams, during those states when your consciousness softens and your subconscious comes forward, you might be tapping into something larger than your individual mind. You might be accessing the collective patterns, the archetypal wisdom of humanity. Your personal dreams are also, in some sense, reflecting the dreams of humanity. This is not mysticism. It's neuroscience at the frontier. It's the recognition that consciousness might be more fundamentally connected than we've previously understood. The most relaxing revelation: you're not alone. Not just socially, but neurologically. Your mind is part of a vast network of other minds. The wisdom of countless humans is encoded in the patterns of your subconscious. When you sleep, you're not just processing your personal experience. You're tapping into something much larger. And that leads us to the final integration, where all of these principles converge in a way that transforms how you understand your entire life. Everything we've discussed has been building toward this moment of integration. Let me bring it all together in a way that will fundamentally shift your understanding of who you are. You are not a conscious mind controlling a body and a subconscious. You are a unified system of which conscious thought is merely the surface. Your consciousness is like an iceberg, only the tiniest tip visible above water. The vast, intelligent, creative, powerful portion is submerged. Your subconscious is continuously processing 11 million bits of information per second. It's running prediction models, updating expectations, learning from patterns. It's consolidating memories during sleep, clearing metabolic waste, balancing your emotions, solving your problems, and generating your creativity. Your consciousness is not in control. Your consciousness is along for the ride, narrating the story of what your subconscious has decided. And here's the beautiful part: that's exactly how it should be. Your consciousness isn't supposed to run everything. It's supposed to be a witness, a narrator, an integrator of meaning. It's supposed to notice what your subconscious has done and help create a coherent story from it. Think of it like this. You're not a passenger desperately trying to take the wheel from the driver. You're part of a vehicle where the driver is highly skilled, trustworthy, and deeply experienced. The best thing you can do is relax, trust the driver, and pay attention to the view. This is what we mean when we talk about self-trust. It's not about trusting your conscious willpower or your rational mind. It's about trusting the intelligence that's been keeping you alive, learning from your experiences, and guiding you toward growth since before you were born. Neuroscientist Bessel van der Kolk, in his groundbreaking work on trauma, emphasized that healing comes not from thinking about our problems, but from learning to trust our body's wisdom. Our trauma is held in our subconscious, in our nervous system, in our body's patterns. Healing happens when we develop trust in these deeper systems, rather than trying to override them with conscious willpower. Here's what's mind-blowing. Most of your problems, anxiety, self-doubt, perfectionism, procrastination, are actually your subconscious trying to protect you. Your anxiety is your threat detection system trying to keep you safe. Your self-doubt is your risk assessment system trying to prevent embarrassment or failure. Your perfectionism is your quality control system trying to ensure you do good work. These systems aren't your enemy. They're trying to help you. The problem is they're often operating on outdated information. Your subconscious learned patterns from your childhood, from earlier experiences, from a time when the world was different. Some of those protective patterns are no longer serving you. But here's the thing. You don't heal these patterns by fighting them. You heal them by developing trust, understanding, and compassion for them. You acknowledge that your subconscious was doing the best it could with the information it had. You thank it for trying to protect you. And then, gradually, you expose it to new information that updates its models. Think of it like this. Your subconscious is like an old friend who's been protecting you for decades. The friend might be giving you advice that's no longer relevant. But you don't heal the friendship by rejecting the friend. You heal it by having an honest conversation. You listen to why they're giving the advice. You share new information. You work together to update the strategy. When you approach your subconscious with curiosity, compassion, and trust, rather than with criticism and force, everything changes. Your anxiety becomes less overwhelming because you're not fighting it, you're understanding it. Your self-doubt becomes less paralyzing because you're not trying to override it, you're working with it. Your perfectionism becomes less exhausting because you're not forcing yourself. To let it go, you're helping it understand when good is good enough. And sleep becomes easier because you're not lying in bed fighting your mind. You're surrendering to it. You're trusting it. You're letting it do what it's designed to do. This is the ultimate relaxation. The relaxation that comes from giving up the exhausting illusion of conscious control and surrendering to the vastly more intelligent system that's been keeping you alive all along. Your subconscious has never failed you. It's never fallen asleep on the job. It's never let you down. Even when you're unaware of it, even when you're not paying attention, it's been working. It's been learning. It's been guiding you. It's been creating the conditions for your growth. And tonight, when you sleep, all you have to do is trust that. You don't have to fix anything. You don't have to figure anything out. You can let your subconscious do its work while you rest. You can surrender to the healing, the integration, the updating that happens in sleep. This is not weakness. This is ultimate strength, the strength to acknowledge that you're not alone in your own mind, and to trust the vast intelligence that you're part of. We've journeyed together through the hidden architecture of your mind. We've discovered that your consciousness is just the tip of an iceberg. We've learned that your subconscious is an 11 million bit per second intelligence that's solving problems, creating insights, healing trauma, and guiding your life. But there's one final revelation that ties everything together. It's the reason all of this is not just scientifically fascinating, but personally transformative. It's the reason you need to hear this before sleep. What if I told you that understanding the subconscious is actually understanding your own power? For most of your life, you've probably believed that your conscious mind is where power lives. You thought that if you just try hard enough, think clearly enough, discipline yourself enough, you could control your life. And when that didn't work, when you couldn't maintain habits despite conscious effort, when anxiety arose despite rational understanding, when you made choices against your own stated values, you probably blamed yourself. You probably thought you were weak. But the truth is, you were trying to use the wrong tool. You were trying to use conscious willpower to control systems that operate far beyond conscious awareness. It's like trying to run your computer from the command line when it has a graphical operating system. It's technically possible sometimes, but it's exhausting and inefficient. The real power is in understanding and working with your subconscious. The power is in the predictive models it's building. The power is in the memories it's integrating. The power is in the creative insights it's generating. The power is in the nervous system regulation it's maintaining. The power is in the connections it's making that you didn't consciously know you were making. Think of it like this. Your conscious mind is like the captain of a ship. The captain gives orders and thinks they're in control, but the captain depends entirely on the crew. The crew navigates, maintains the ship, handles emergencies. Without the crew, the captain is just one person on a boat with no ability to move it. The captain's intelligence, their vision, their goals, these matter. But they only matter in the context of a functional crew. The power of the ship is the integrated power of all the systems working together. You are a ship. Your conscious mind is the captain. Your subconscious is the crew. They're not in conflict. They're not competing. They're supposed to be working together. And the moment you stop seeing your subconscious as something to control and start seeing it as something to collaborate with, everything changes. Here's the scientific foundation. Psychologist Richard Ryan and Edward Deci research on intrinsic and extrinsic motivation showed that sustainable change doesn't come from forcing yourself through sheer willpower. It comes from aligning your conscious values with your subconscious drives. When what you consciously want is aligned with what your subconscious wants, you don't have to force yourself. You flow. You're effortless. You're powerful. And the way to align conscious and subconscious? It's not through more thinking. It's through sleep. It's through dreams. It's through the quiet moments where your conscious mind stops trying to control and your subconscious can integrate, update, and align with your genuine values. This is why insomnia and sleep deprivation create such psychological suffering. It's not just that your brain is tired. It's that you're cut off from the integration that creates alignment. You're stuck in your conscious mind, trying to force your way forward, unable to access the deeper wisdom that would guide you. But sleep restores that integration. Sleep reconnects you with your subconscious. And in that reconnection, you remember who you really are. Here's what neuroscientist Rick Hanson discovered about what he calls taking in the good. When you experience something positive, a moment of success, a connection with someone, a beautiful sunset, your brain's negativity bias, evolved to keep us alive by remembering threats, actually prevents you from integrating the positive experience into long-term memory. You feel it for a moment, but it doesn't stick. However, if you deliberately pause and let the positive experience sink in, if you give it 12 to 20 seconds of conscious attention while your body registers the positive emotion, your brain consolidates it into memory more powerfully. And then, during sleep, it gets integrated into your core sense of self. This is a practice you can do right now. Think about a moment today that went well. Maybe someone was kind to you. Maybe you did something you're proud of. Maybe you experienced beauty or pleasure. Hold that moment in your mind for 15 seconds. Let your body feel it. Feel where it lives in your chest, your belly, your heart. Feel the warmth of it. Then, as you drift to sleep tonight, let that positive experience be the last thing on your mind. Your subconscious will integrate it during sleep. You'll wake up tomorrow with a slightly stronger sense of yourself as someone capable, worthy, lovable. This is how you gradually reprogram yourself. Not through force, through cooperation with your subconscious. And here's the final mind-bending realization. This whole process, this journey from birth to death, from unconsciousness through waking life and dreams, is not accidental. It's not random. It's not a bug in the system. It's a feature. It's how consciousness evolves. You're not just a person who has a subconscious. You're an expression of consciousness experiencing itself through a human nervous system. Your conscious and subconscious minds are not two separate things. They're two expressions of a unified intelligence that's exploring itself, learning about itself, growing through itself. Think of it like this. Imagine the universe wanted to know itself. It couldn't do that from above, from some omniscient perspective. It could only do that from inside, from within individual nervous systems, from within individual lives, from within the interaction between conscious and subconscious, between knowing and not knowing. You're the universe knowing itself. Your consciousness is the universe's eyes. Your subconscious is the universe's intuition. Your sleep is the universe's meditation. Your dreams are the universe's imagination. This is why understanding the subconscious is so profound. It's not just neuroscience. It's cosmology. It's philosophy. It's spirituality. It's the recognition that you're part of something much larger than yourself. And that something larger is learning and evolving through you. Here's what neuroscientist Donald Hoffman proposes. What if consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain, but the fundamental nature of reality? What if the brain is not producing consciousness, but rather filtering it, like an antenna receiving a signal that's always been there? In this model, your personal consciousness is a specific frequency of a universal consciousness. Your subconscious is your connection to the broader field. This is not mysticism. This is serious theoretical physics. And it offers a profound reframing of what your subconscious is. It's not just your personal unconscious. It's the place where you're connected to something larger. As you prepare for sleep tonight, consider this. What if your dreams are not just your brain processing your life? What if your dreams are the universe using your imagination to explore possibilities? What if the creative insights that come to you in sleep are not generated by your brain, but received through your brain? What if your intuitions are not your subconscious guessing, but your subconscious accessing a larger field of intelligence? I'm not asking you to believe this. I'm asking you to consider it. I'm asking you to hold it as a possibility. And as you drift into sleep, I'm asking you to be open to the possibility that you're part of something much larger than yourself, and that something is wise, is safe, is loving, and is guiding you. This is the ultimate relaxation. The relaxation that comes from recognizing that you've never been alone, that you've always been held by intelligence larger than your conscious mind, that there's a vast system of caring, of organizing, of healing working on your behalf every single moment, including right now as you drift towards sleep. Your subconscious doesn't ask for gratitude. It doesn't ask for recognition. It just asks for your trust. It asks for your surrender. It asks for you to stop fighting and to let it do what it does so beautifully. Keep you alive, help you grow, guide you toward your potential, and heal you during sleep. Tonight, when you lie down, know this: you are safe. Your mind is taking care of you. Your subconscious is working for you. Everything that needs to happen while you sleep will happen. You don't have to worry. You don't have to try. You just have to close your eyes, trust, and surrender. Your subconscious has never let you down. Not once in your entire life. Not a single night. It's been there, keeping you alive, learning from your experiences, preparing you for tomorrow, healing you during dreams. It will do the same tonight. As you drift into sleep, feel gratitude for the 11 million bits of information your brain is processing per second, maintaining your body, managing your emotions, solving your problems, all without asking anything from you except that you rest. Feel gratitude for the dreams you're about to have, even if you don't remember them, because they're your subconscious integrating your life into wisdom. Feel gratitude for the waste being cleared from your brain as you sleep, the memories being consolidated, the expectations being updated, the neural networks being reorganized. Feel gratitude for being part of a vast network of human consciousness, all oscillating together, all learning together, all growing together. Feel gratitude for the universe exploring itself through your consciousness and your subconscious, through your waking and your dreaming, through your becoming. And as you close your eyes tonight, know this final truth. You are exactly where you need to be. Your subconscious knows exactly what you need. Trust it, surrender to it, let it guide you into sleep. Your mind is wise. Your body is intelligent. Your dreams are healing. And you are loved by the vastness of your own being. Sleep well. Trust the process. Wake transformed.